So today we're talking about AI for business. And the first most important thing is we have to zoom out. We don't just want to start talking about the tools and the technology. We can first talking about what is business itself. So what is business, and how do people, let me write this, and how do people usually start businesses? So right now in the world, businesses are usually started by people who are part of another job. Let's say you are an apprentice at another job. You already you joined as an intern, then you maybe joined the ladder, and maybe you acquired some skills, and you learned some lessons in a previous business, and then you decided to use that information. Um, let me, and then you decided to use that information in order to start your own. Maybe you weren't very happy with that business, having a job, or maybe you wanted something different. Maybe the job ended and you wanted to try something else. So usually at that time, people usually decide to start their own business with the skills that they have. So you have a technician, someone who's good at a specific task. Maybe it's a legal job, maybe data science, maybe you're a programmer, but people usually start with that skill. You say, I have a skill and I want to turn that into a business. Yeah, so at this point, this technician is usually now going to take that skill, that core skill. Maybe let's say you're a carpenter. You say, I'm going to start making chairs and I'm going to start selling. But then the difference with a technician starting a business and someone who's a businessman is that sometimes the technician can focus too much on the idea of building that business, of doing the work itself. Like if you're a carpenter, you focus too much on building the chairs. You're saying, okay, my business is building chairs, so I'm going to focus on building chairs. And you don't really focus too much on the idea of the business itself, because a business isn't something that only builds chairs. A business has many other components that are very important. And this is one of the reasons that many businesses don't end up succeeding, because they're started by people who focus too much, or you focus too much about the things inside the business. You're not focused on the business itself. And so what I mean here is that if you take a business, you can zoom out. So a business isn't just, I make a product. Let's say this is product. A business has other components that you might have to think about. Things like, operations, sales, the systems that you use inside the business. What else is part of a business? Finance, legal. Yeah, so when you're talking about a business, even now in the AI age, it's important to zoom out and you look at yourself as not someone, this is someone who's working inside the business. You see, as a technician or an operator, like this one, you're working inside the business, and this is someone who's working on the business. So if you're inside the business, you're focused on some of the things which are happening inside the business. You can even be inside the business and you're too focused on sales, or you're only focused on finance, because that is where people usually come from whenever you're thinking of starting your own business. But then when you want to focus on the business, then you have to zoom out and start looking at the different components that create that business. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so that's just the first idea that I wanted to give you, that there's a difference between working inside the business, and there's a difference between working on the business itself, which brings us to where we are. When it comes to AI, it's when you zoom out, you see that a business has several different components. As we saw, it has maybe component 1, component 2, component 3, component 4. And what we want to do today is look at how can you take all these components, if you zoom out as a businessman or businesswoman, and see how you can automate these systems, because now you can break it up into different chunks. You don't just say, okay, my business is writing code, so I'm going to just focus on AI that helps me to write code. You kind of zoom out and we see the kinds of different systems. So we're talking about systems thinking. where you're looking at the processes, the different processes that result in the customer being happy. So you map out step 1, step 2, step 3. So you for example, you can have documentation that says, fine, this is my new business. I am making chairs. So to map out my business, I'm gonna have step 1, wood from here to here, wood from here to shop. And then number 2, inside the shop, I process the material. And then material can go into the product, which is our chair. And then number 4, the prod, it goes to the customer. And then the good thing, once you break down these systems, is that you're now able to start replicating your business. It becomes something that you can easily document, meaning that you can start replacing yourself in the business. The other thing, when you're the technician and you're always doing the work yourself, it means that you're also limited in terms of what you can do. So that if someone else, if you got sick and someone else, and there was no one else in the business, you would end up, maybe losing business, or the business wouldn't end up working because you're not available. So once you start mapping out your business in terms of these systems and writing documentation, which is very important because it allows you to zoom out and see your system, how it works, it means that now you can make these all individual roles. So you say, this is the delivery guy. The delivery guy. You say this is the materials guy. These are just made up jobs. And then this is the carpenter. And then this is the the prod to the customer. This is the maybe customer care or something. So you see, now we've started with what we wanted our business to do. We've moved from the idea that we're just gonna sit down and start making chairs, and we are now breaking it down into the different tasks, and then we're looking at those tasks. Okay, what roles are gonna be needed? Even though initially you're the one who's doing all of these, it's important that you still understand how the system works. Even though your intent to be alone, by the way, so it's okay to completely do business by yourself, but it's also nice to break it down as a system. And the reason why you want to do this, if I can create a new one here, is because you want to create the idea of a franchise. So, for example, one business that you could look at is something like McDonald's. So, or fast food in general, Chicken Inn. It's just that McDonald's is the one that starts. McDonald's is the one that started this idea of a franchise. So it'll make sense right now. Franchise, which is in the 50s and 60s, I think, when they started. When you had a restaurant, you usually had to have multiple different restaurants. Even if you had different branches of the same restaurant, they weren't usually standardized. So when McDonald's came around, they did that same exact system, but now for the fast food process, where they said, fine, we want to create a system that results in us making fries. So as McDonald's, for us as customers, when you're visiting a business like Chicken Inn or just a fast food business, you think of the fries as the product. But for McDonald's, the product is the entire process that results in that restaurant existing. So everything from the ingredients, the fries, where everything comes from. They've mapped out how long the burgers take to cook, where people stand, the mapping of the floor of the kitchen itself, what people are going to wear, what people are going to say, how many serviettes are you going to give the customer, what condiments do we put there. So they map everything pretty much, and then you map all that in a package called McDonald's. So you map your business in a package called McDonald's. And then the beautiful thing, because you mapped everything out and you tested it, that's the important thing, that you don't just create a system, you create a system and then you test it. So you say, okay, fine, we've tested fries. If we cook them for 5 minutes, it results in a better fry. Or if we cook it for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So you don't just map it out. You map out your system and then you test out every single item that we said. So the customer part, the product part, you yourself as the technician, you keep improving each and every aspect of that. That we are going to call this the franchise prototype. So this is your first business idea. So you don't just create a business idea and launch a website. You first create a franchise prototype, even if you're going to be alone, where you say, fine, let's test. Let's test. Okay, what colors do we want? How do we talk to customers? What exact words do we use to talk to the customer? So you don't just say randomly choose, talk to the customer every time. You use a repeatable word or repeatable phrases, which you test. Okay, fine. Is this going to result in the customer coming back? If not, let me change it. And then you keep improving your franchise prototype. So maybe initially it doesn't work, and this is the important part. It doesn't work, but as you keep testing it, you keep improving the documentation. Your prototype, proto, your prototype now becomes a solid idea. So you have a document that says, fine, if I'm selling chairs and if I follow these steps and if I have these roles, even if I'm by myself, then it will result in the customer coming back all the time. Okay, and then you have your franchise prototype. And then the beautiful thing, once you have all this entire package, is that you can easily take this idea and replicate it, which is where the franchise comes in. It means now, if you wanted to sell this business to another person, you could easily just give them the documentation and the processes, and they have everything they need to replicate it. So they can take it, they replicate it, you can sell it to someone else, they replicate it. And this is what McDonald's sells now. They give the businesses a package that says, if you follow these rules and if you use this brand, you will make money. Basically, it's a money making machine that you're trying to create as a business person. And this is what a lot of initial startups don't understand, because you're focused too much on the inside. You don't zoom out and see that your business should just be a neat package that can make money. Okay. And then you can take this package and the documents that you have in here that you've proven over time. It takes a lot of time to prove this business. So initially you do it by yourself. Slowly and slowly you see what works. And then once you have the full package, your franchise prototype, you take it and then you can give it to someone else. So maybe you can even send me a PDF. And then if I follow the rules that you had here and the same ideas, I can make money the same way you made money. And then that's the idea of a franchise now. So it's an easily replicatable piece of a business that has customers coming back. It gives customers meaning. It can make money for you and things like that. And most importantly, you don't have to be involved. So as much as you started the business with your own passions, it means that after you have this package, whether or not you want to continue doing it by yourself, it's possible for you to just take this package and give it to someone else, and that other person is able to do it. And the important thing is, the franchise should work whether or not that person is skilled the same way that you are. Because you already did all the work and the research and the testing, it means that this package tells them everything they need to do. So here's the color you'll use, here's the format of the kitchen, here's how long the fries are going to take, and here's how everything works. And then you can replicate that across many, many businesses. And this is one of the most successful business models that has ever existed, because people are just buying this package. This is the actual product that McDonald's sells. It doesn't sell the fries. It sells this system of making money based on this brand. So that's just, I wanted to just zoom out because we're now focused on automation. It's very important that you understand what your business is, you document it, and then you're able to give it to an agent or to an AI that is able to interpret the ideas that you have and replicate that in order to make a bunch of money or achieve the goal that you had. So that's just an idea of a franchise prototype. It's a book I got from, it's an idea I got from a book called E-Myth Revisited. I've finished the first part, just talking about zooming out. I wanted to know whether you guys have any questions or feedback about this idea of the franchise prototype. So Terrence, welcome. Do you have any questions or ideas about this? Or questions?
No question so far, yeah.
Okay. Eric?
Not for now.
Okay, Vincent. Okay. So if you have any questions, just feel free to interrupt me. But that's the first idea, that you break down your business, and it's something that you're able to zoom out, see what it is, and then now we can start talking about the automation. So when it comes to AI, obviously one of the first most important tools, and this is something I'm sure all of us are using, is always ChatGPT. And this one is a general purpose tool that all of us should use for research. So for example, with your business idea, it's now not very crucial for us to think about these businesses ourselves. So you can just come here to ChatGPT, you give it your business idea, you tell it, this is what I do. I make chairs and I wanna break down the process of my system like a franchise. So there. And then obviously there's different tools. You can use deep research if you wanted to do more. So do the protocol call for me, please, in detail. So the cool thing about ChatGPT is obviously you want to offload your cognition. You don't want to do all of this work yourself, right? Because you see, you don't want to do all this manual work of you thinking, of you doing all this stuff. You want to offload a lot of this work, and one of those first things is to use ChatGPT. So this is what I just wanted to show you. So this is an example of a prototype for making chairs. So inputs, raw lumber, equipment and tools, and then the process steps. So verify hot tags, load, position, execute, measure, cycle 2 minutes. Then it gives you, this is the process for assembly. Then you sand and prepare, you finish application, upholstery, then final inspection and check off. So here we've actually created our initial prototype for a chair making business. So as you can see, it has different steps, which is very important. And as a business, this is a process that can help you. Now, when it comes to the automation, I'm going to now skip to, I don't know whether some of you have seen this tool, but we're now in the process of offloading our cognition. So you have this idea and you have your process. You have the things that you need to do for your business. So Vi is a system that can now do the work for you. Let's say now you're ready to do the work. Let's say you're a data scientist, you're a programmer, you're someone who wants to do this work. I now want to show you that things have changed in terms of getting work done as a human being. So the same way here for chairs, we've come here and we've seen we can create the process easily with ChatGPT if you give it the details. Okay, and you can take these details, you go, you actually try them in real life, you see what works and what doesn't, so that you create your own unique, document, yeah, for all the processes of your business. Okay, but then it becomes time for you to do the work and to do it yourself. This is going to vary business by business, and we're going to go through some of your business ideas if you guys have any business you want to test. But I want to show you the future of how we are going to be doing work. So let me share my whole screen, entire screen, so that I show you here. I even have it as a shortcut for myself on my computer. Here we are. So this is a system, which I hope you guys can see. Okay. So can you see this thing here, this text box on my screen here on the wallpaper?
Yes.
That's good, thanks. Yeah, so this is a product called Vi. So now imagine you have your system, you're saying, fine, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, okay? So you come here, you just say, fine. Actually, let me make it even easier for myself. And I'm gonna come back here to ChatGPT, and I say, find me. So I'm just copying the inputs. Yeah, here we are. Please find these for me online. So before you would have had to, even ChatGPT can do some of this work for you, but I just wanted to show you that there's a system called Vi, and they're gonna get better. These are computer use models that can actually set all this work for you. So there's a couple of options which we'll get into, which are gonna blow your mind. But this is the basic version. So you say, fine, I want to please find this for me online, and then you say send. I've given it full control. So I'm going to do this. And then let's look at Vi, what Vi does. So we're embracing this idea that we don't have to do this work ourselves. I know it's tempting to, to continue with how we were doing work previously, going into, you see now Vi is just literally opening up Chrome on its own, and it's doing the work. Let me move this here. So it's taking screenshots, and it's kind of just doing the work on its own. You see, it's clicking. I don't have to do this myself. In the past, even a few months ago, if we were doing this tutorial again, I would have had to do this work myself. But now we're saying ChatGPT helped us to come up with a plan for our business. And now we use a tool like this one called Vi, or even OpenAI has one called Operator that can do what? That can do this work for me. So essentially, as a person, as a human, we now have to rethink, basically, as a business, how you do work on your computer, okay? And this can apply to everything that you want to do. It can apply to things like coding. It can apply if you're an accountant. It can apply if you're doing sales. So for example, here we're doing wood stuff, but I'm not a wood person, but the computer knows way more than me, and it can just start doing all this work on its own, capturing all the data, clicking around. I can wait for it to finish, but let me pause here, just so, because I'm sure you've gotten the idea that now we have systems that can use our computers without us having to do that. So our work moves from doing the technical work, the work of using the computer itself, to becoming someone who understands the system that we want the computer to use, and we're just giving the computer the instructions and having it follow up and do all of that stuff. So so there we are. You've seen computer use with Vi, but then it gets a bit more interesting in terms of how we can take it to the next level, because Vi has a new feature, and it's getting even much better, called workflows. So let's say you're a business. So let's say you're a business, and we've done that task, of the first time. We've set up our system, and the computer has done work for us. Initially, some things you might find are slower than you doing it yourself, and I know it's going to be tempting to just step in, do it yourself, and things like that. But it's about us building that habit of not doing the work ourselves. And actually, the funny thing is, Vi is completely free, so all of you can actually just download it and use it for free. It's a new software. So as some things are tempting for you to do yourself, but we are kind of trying to come up with this new attitude and this new idea that you, as a human, you don't start your computer, you don't do everything. Even for me, sometimes I've actually disabled my entire keyboard because it can be tempting for me to type my own things sometimes. So what I use is Vi, and also I have another tool here called. So this tool is called. This tool here is okay. I don't know how to maximize it, but it's called what is it called? Super Whisper, yeah. So this tool is called Super Whisper, as you can see here. Super Whisper. You can search that one up, Super Whisper. Let me actually show it to you here. Super Whisper. So it's a tool called Super Whisper, and what it lets you do is it lets you talk to your computer instead of you having to type things. Okay, so right now it's been listening to me, and it's gonna write everything that I'm talking, so that I don't have to use my keyboard. So as a human, we're just trying to change our habits a bit, so that things are a bit easier for us. So I'm getting used to talking to my computer instead of having to actually type words out, because that's manual and it's a bit slower. So then when you're done, I press it's just a shortcut on my keyboard. It processes the text, and then as you can see, so I'm getting used to talk to my computer, blah 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 blah. As you can see here we are. So yeah, so we're getting used to using our voice instead of typing, and we're getting used to using a computer, using an AI model to do the computer work and the research instead of us. Those are some two things about the modern businesses after you have your system. The other beautiful thing about Vi is that it has something called a workflow. Okay, and this is a very, very, very powerful idea. So as you can see in that first example, what we did was what did we do? We gave it a manual task which we had to input ourselves. But sometimes you have some things which you want to do over and over again. So let me just do an example here that I can show you. So now it's possible also, and this takes it to a whole other level, like this. And this takes it to a whole other level where instead of you having to give the computer the task to do, like this one, you can actually teach it either by telling it what to do from scratch, or it can just watch you doing your job, what you do in your business and what you do in your job. If you're doing sales, if you're making ads, if you're writing code, if you're doing content, if you're creating media, if you're going to YouTube and creating spreadsheets and doing things like that, you just take that workflow that you do for your job, and then you show via this computer use agent, you show it all those tasks, and then it's going to be able to repeat everything that you've done, but it's going to be able to do it automatically without you having to do it ever again. So let's say that my job is maybe I'm an accountant or something like that. So let me show it my accounting process, and then it's going to do that on its own. Okay, so let me teach the computer. So now we've reached a point where, like the same way we broke down our workflows. You remember when we were talking about the franchise prototype, we broke down our business into different ideas. So now let's say this is the finance aspect. So I'm going to teach it. It says I can record my workflow, and then I start recording. So now the computer is watching what I'm doing, basically, and it's gonna be able to repeat everything that I'm doing. So let's say the first thing I want to do is come here and go to sheets.google.com, and then I create a blank spreadsheet, and then I say sales, ads, customers, spend, and then I say 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, I fill in some random numbers here, basically, like this, and like this, like this. And then let's say I come here, prototype, or let me say finance process. So you can imagine this can be anything you do in your business, okay? And then I say maybe come here, file, download as a PDF, export, okay? And then what else can I do here? And then PDF. Let me come here to Google. And I say PDF to slides or something like that. So we're just making stuff up here. And then I'm gonna come here, scroll a bit. Let me just click on this first one. Let's hope it's good, even though it's an ad. And then I select from the device. I come here to downloads, finance, open. Let's see what's gonna happen. And then it's processing. So the idea is that we hope the computer is now gonna be able to repeat all of this. And then I say, close that. And then I say, save. Done. Download PDF. So, okay, fine. I'm going to just stop there because obviously now it's getting more complex. But now I've taught Vi that process. Now I'm going to stop. So now it's going to actually look at the recording of everything, all the work that I've done. So imagine the same way we're talking about, the business has different aspects. So you can imagine doing this for different aspects of your business. You can do this for the programming part where you teach it, you show it your workflow for programming, and then it's able to repeat it. You can show it your workflow for sales, and then it's able to repeat it. Your workflow for finances, it's able to repeat it. and things like that. So right now it's actually going through everything that I've done and kind of mapping out in detail the exact clicks, the exact UI buttons it clicked on, every page that I visited, and I'm going to be able to save it so that it's something that can be executed automatically. So that's processing. Let me close some of this. Yeah. So as that's processing, let me now switch back a bit. I know it doesn't take that long, but let me just switch now to showing you another type of agent, which is now the coding agent, which is very, very important. So even though you don't understand, maybe it depends on how technical you are. Maybe you understand how to code, maybe you don't understand how to code. What I use currently is WindSurf, but there's other programs which you can use like Casa and stuff like that. But basically, if you download this application called WindSurf, let me come here to the website and show you. Surf. So I don't know whether you guys use it, or let me just ask you directly. So do any of you use these AI coding agents like Casa, WindSurf? I don't know, Eric, Terrence, Vincent, Lillian. Have any of you tried them out, or are you programmers?
Yeah. For me, I've tried WindSurf, and I've also tried Codex, and Google has something that's called Jules as well. Yeah.
Exactly, that's good. Eric?
I've tried Casa, WindSurf, Firebase Studio, I think Replit and all that. I've not tried the Jules one.
Okay. Okay, Terrence and Lillian?
I've tried out WindSurf.
Okay, Terrence?
I've only used Casa.
Okay, but this is good that you guys now we're on the same page basically about this idea that we understand that coding agents exist. So in the meantime, yeah. So and this is another very powerful idea. And the funny thing is, guess what? Okay, I'll actually create a workflow for that to show you. The next one I'll create is going to be to show you that you can have this via a computer use agent using another agent, which is a whole other level of automation that is very, very, very powerful. So let's come here. It's created our workflow. It's called it spreadsheet to PDF. And this workflow details the process of creating a new spreadsheet, populating with data, renaming it, and downloading it as a PDF. So it actually went through, because they have a very good model that understands the UI. It understands it opens Chrome browser, it goes here, presses the return key, blank spreadsheet, it fills in some data, and it even has variables. So you can even have variables so that you specify exactly what you want for each column, and then you can even have rules. So here you can specify if it doesn't work well, you come here, you improve the rules, make sure you use Chrome, make sure you use Google Sheets, and then you save your workflow. As you can see, all I did was I showed my computer what I'm doing. And then guess what? The cool thing is, all I have to do now, whenever I want to do that workflow again, is just press this button here. And then, just like magic, it should start doing its own thing, and I don't have to do anything else. So we're just going to sit here and watch it for a bit and see how well it finishes the job. So, and also it has memory, as you can see. So it remembers things. If in the chart, it can remember some of the things that it needs to do. And it's capturing the screen. Let's see what's going to happen now and how well it's going to succeed. Oh. Like even if you mess up, actually, it's able to capture the screen again. It knows where to, where to click, where to move things. So there it is. It's just literally following everything that I showed it. So now our job as humans, as humans becomes setting up these workflows, and so that it becomes just watching. We are watching the system to see, does it work? Is it achieving the goals that we had in in a good way. And there, as you can see, it's filling in things. So we move away from the technical work of, and I know this is a very cutting edge research, meaning that most people don't have any idea that these systems exist yet. And so a lot of us still think in terms of clicking on keyboards and doing work manually. But as you can see, this is way, way more powerful, because all you have to do when you wake up is press a button, you click the play button, and an AI essentially fills in all the work. And yeah, so there it is. It's filled in some of the data. Now I need to rename the spreadsheet so it knows the step that I took. It sees that it's called untitled spreadsheet. Finance process, and as you can see, it's so accurate. Like, it's very, very it knows exactly what it's what to name things. And now it wants to download. It's capturing the screen again. So at some point I'll pause. I know you can see where it's going, but I want to show you now how we can make this process even more powerful, because as mind-blowing as this is, it gets even more interesting. So there, it's able to download the PDF. So we'll stop after it exports. So you can imagine, instead of you having to do the manual work that you currently do in your own business, all you have to do is wake up, click one button, and just leave your computer running like this, and everything. Let me pause it, and everything works perfectly. Okay, so that's one workflow that we've created. So let me pause there to collect your opinions before I know this. I don't know what you guys think and feel about this idea. We can get even deeper, but I want to know what you guys think and feel. If you have any comments, if anyone wants to say anything, otherwise I'll just continue, depending on what you guys think. Does anyone have any comments? Any
Question.
Yeah.
As Vi's working, can you do something else, or do you have to take your hands off the wheel until it's done?
Yes, that's a very good question, and that's actually the one I was gonna address next. So recently, in the latest update, they've actually added one here called, there's one here called full control. Let me minimize. There's one here called full control. Vi takes control of a computer. You can cancel, okay? But you might confuse Vi. So as you're working and you're doing your own thing, you can confuse it. But there's one here, they've introduced a recent one. I've never even tested this one myself because it's just in the latest update. But it runs in the background. It cannot see your screen and has more limited access to applications, but it can browse and edit text. So let's try that one in the meantime. So if you want to, you just say @ and then it's going to list out your works, and then you say, please do this for me, and then you say, do this. So for now, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, that's one. Vi is running in the background. So now I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to come here, and we're just going to wait for it. So at this point, it's not seeing my screen, and everything is happening in the background. So it's convenient for me. I can just continue with my work. The other important aspect is there's something here called parallels. Parallels desktop. So it means that imagine if you could have an extra OS running on top of your current OS, so that you can have a nested system of spreadsheets. So as you can see, it's already doing its own thing inside its own browser. So there's a software here called Parallels. And what Parallels lets you do is it lets you install a virtual operating system on top of your, on top of your, okay, you need to pay for it basically, but you can install basically a Mac OS inside your current Mac OS. So that you give your computer agent all the resources that it needs to do everything on its own without you. As you can see, it's literally doing all that work. This is crazy, and it's working very well. We'll see what the results are. In the meantime, okay, I'll pause there. But yeah, I just wanted to show you to answer your question that yeah, definitely it can work on the foreground where it sees your screen, and it can also work on the background where it does everything on its own here. I just need to figure out how to access that background browser. Let me come here and see whether it actually yeah, wow, this is it. This is the this is the spreadsheet it's been creating in the background for us. You see, and I didn't even need to log into anything. It just used my existing browser, but then it does everything in the background without me having to be involved. As you can see, this is it using, and this is me now. So let me close that. So yeah, very, very, very powerful. I hope you guys get understand where this is going and how much more efficient this would make you compared to the average human being who has to click around and do things on their own. But then the other powerful thing is if you combine an agent using an agent, okay, we'll give this one full control, but then we'll tell it, please open WindSurf, and then inside WindSurf, create a new Python application that is going to use weather APIs to predict the weather here in Nairobi. And then please use, yeah, basically, let me just say that. WindSurf. Use the chat box, the Cascade agent, in order for you to be able to just type in the chat what it's supposed to do. Do not write any code yourself. Yeah, just use the Ask Anything box in order for you to be able to make the application. So then let me just switch here to the free model. And then press this. So now I'm telling this one agent to use another agent. So it says WindSurf is already open. I need to do application. So wow, check this out. So now, even the idea of you using your IDE and typing code manually starts becoming archaic. Even you having to open the IDE, as advanced as something like WindSurf or Casa is, you can actually now just have your agent do everything for you. And then Vi is just going to monitor what's happening here. As you can see, it captures the screen. Cascade has successfully created the Python weather project. Accept changes. Let me wait a bit more, and then accept the changes. So it also already knows how to accept changes. It can read the UI, and it can actually do all the code on your behalf, which is a very, very powerful idea. So there's even more stuff to show you beyond this. But if you have any comments, questions, you can tell me. In the meantime, while it's making its own app, what do you guys think about this? Let's see. So it's waiting for the final file to be completed. And fine. And as you can see, it can also wait. So it also knows to check the screen. It knows, I don't know why this particular README is taking so long. Fine. In the meantime, let me come back to you guys. Thoughts and feelings about this idea that you can have a code agent using a code agent. You can have a computer use agent. Do you guys see how useful this can be for your own workflows? I know some of you are programmers. What do you guys think? Terence, Vincent?
Okay, yeah. I think I see where you're going with this, and it's kind of, I think, the future, right? But I had a question: Is this available for Windows or Linux, or it's only Mac OS for now?
Yeah, you can go to the website. I think maybe it's also available for Windows. You can just go to the website and check and see for yourself whether it's something that is available for Windows. I think probably. I'm not so sure. So there we are.
Waiting
Let me
list.
just. Sorry. Yeah, Terence.
For Windows, Vi has a waiting list for Windows.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. So let me pause this. So that was the this one is the I could probably change the model here so that it creates the readme. I don't know why it's taking so long. But the point is that now you can have one agent using another agent to create, to do the code. So basically the same way we used to, so this is Parallels. It installs the virtual OS. So now the same way you write your code, you can have a system that writes your code for you, which is a whole other level of automation. And then finally, let me show you now how you take this to an even higher level, to take it to even more automated. So they now also have a new system called schedules. So, initially we had to be the ones who had to come and click the button ourselves. But it's now possible to take that spreadsheet, that workflow that you recorded your workflow. So you can now schedule it. You just come and say, I want you to run that same workflow in background mode at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., repeat every single day, and then you save. And then it actually creates a schedule for you here, that every single day, if your computer is open like this, it even helps to prevent your computer from sleeping. The system will be able to run that workflow that you recorded every single day without you having to do anything. So in the background, your system is just running on its own. It's doing all this work. It just depends now on you as a person. Have you taught the computer everything that you needed to teach it? Are you being creative? Did you break down your business processes? As we started, we said you're breaking down your business fast so that you understand the systems. And then we take those systems and now we start automating them. So using a system like this, you just come, you can test it, you make sure that the initial workflow works, and then you have your prototype. And then now every morning at 9 a.m., it's gonna just do this work automatically, which is very powerful. And that's actually the final step, which is what I wanted to show you. So you're now able to basically let me share this, present something else. Yeah, so as you can see, the way we started, you're able to now how we started with the AI for business is you first start by saying, what is my business? And then you break down your business into steps. Okay, you say these are the steps I take, all the processes that are in your business. Process 1, maybe talk to customers, get ingredients, sales, and then 3, customer. And then number 4, maybe that's where you make money. So as a businessman, you break down your business like this, you package it. So these are the things you tested. You said, oh, these are when I do these processes, it ends up giving me more customers, more money, things like that. And then how can I now automate that? So now using computer use agents, you basically teach your computer each of those processes. Process 1. And then you simply automate it so that every morning that process runs on its own. And then you can even have them change together. Okay, so that one runs, you teach the other one, maybe one runs at 10 a.m. Another one runs at 2 p.m. And then by the end of the day, the money has entered your pocket. Yeah, so when it comes to and there's many other tools, in terms of we could have gone into, I even wanted to show you some MCPs that are available. MCPs. If you're doing your own programming, it's also much easier if you have agents and things like that. If you're writing code, if you're building applications, you can use some MCPs to make your job much easier. They can use other tools automatically, stuff like that. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, but I just wanted to show you when it comes to the actual work of the business itself, things have gotten much simpler and much easier in terms of how you can operate. So that was the presentation for today. What did you guys think? Do you think this was useful? Do you think it's something you'd want to implement for yourselves? Do you see where things are going a bit? Have you learned anything new? What do you guys think? Let's say Terence. Okay, Vincent.
Let's Terence go and then I'll go.
Okay, yeah, Terence, tell us.
It's a really nice concept. It's nice to see how AI can do so your usual tasks for you, your daily tasks for you, and it's nice to know that you can find ways to automate the daily stuff, the daily boring stuff. Yeah.
Yes, Vincent, thank you.
Yes, so I think this concept is not new. There is something that CMU like Carnegie Mellon University and started. I'm trying to find the name. So basically, that one now is it was an extension for Chrome, which does basically the same work. And I've seen this thing employed in I don't know if you know Manus, the Manus agent, but for Manus, I don't think it has the whole control of your computer. It just uses their own virtual computer to do their own your task. So, but at least I see where this is going, and yeah, I think it's a happy concept, and it's going to make work a lot of it easy. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And as you've mentioned, there's other tools, other agents, things like Manus. OpenAI has one called Operator, Codex. There's Jules, Firebase Studio. There's other agents basically. But now, as a human, is it that you use those agents, or do you have something else use those agents on your behalf? So we're moving to an even more abstract system. But yeah, I'm so happy that you guys were able to make time to attend the meetup. We can continue the discussion in the WhatsApp group. Feel free to share anything you come across. Like if you also come across your own interesting tools, you can share them in the group. I can also check out what you guys are doing. But yeah, I really appreciate that you made time. These tools are free. For example, if you have a Mac, I guess I saw that on Windows you need to wait a bit. But yeah, we're living in a world where anything is possible. And now one person, you can do much more than what was possible before. Like using this system, you can run a business that before used to take hundreds of people, basically, or even thousands of people in some cases, depending on how you teach it what to do. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys for attending, and I'll see you guys at the next meetup. Yeah, thanks.